Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by the great Corey Bernhard. Corey, thank you for joining me on Yo, That's My Jawn.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Super excited to talk to you. I've been into all of the things you've kind of had your hands on for the past few years, and the new album sounds absolutely phenomenal, and we'll obviously get to that and talk to it, but I'm excited to talk, man.
Thanks, man. Me too. Me too.
So I always like to start these things in the Wayback Machine. Tell me a little bit about growing up. Where'd you grow up?
Sure. I grew up in Massachusetts. I was born in Boston, and then my parents moved to Shrewsbury, Mass, which is kind of central Mass. And I pretty much grew up there most of my life, and music was always a big thing in the house, and studied a lot of music growing up. Took piano lessons, played in a bunch of bands, and eventually went off to college and kept it going.
Yeah. When so music was in the house, what kind of music were your folks listening to? Like what were your earliest kind of musical memories?
Uh, as far as listening, I think my dad was really playing a lot of music in the house all the time, and his taste was pretty much all over the place, and kind of like always coming back to classical music. Like he would always be playing Bach or Beethoven or something like that. But he also was super into all the music that was popular when he was, in high school and college and stuff. So there was like the Beatles, constantly, um, Motown, um, stuff like Al Green sometimes, or some Cuban music that he might be checking out. And he's not a musician at all. He just happened to be super into music, like as a passion, listening. And thankfully, he had pretty good music taste. Still has pretty
That's
good music taste.
that's wild. See, like that's like my dad was the same exact way. Didn't play a single note, but exposed me to so much wide stuff. And like I host this other show called Too Old Too New. It's a music discovery podcast. Me and Bruce Warren do it, and
Nice.
I was just telling him this week that I started like scanning all my vinyl into Discogs, and I've been going through my dad's vinyl that I inherited. And there's all the stuff from when I was a kid, and like, the soundtrack to my childhood's in there, but also there's all this stuff that I never even had a clue that he listened to.
Right.
Which is wild because I always knew that he listened to so much stuff, but there's even stuff that's surprising me because like my dad was like really big into like, he was a big Toots and the Maytals guy. He loved Harry
Mhm.
Nilsson. He loved Motown and stuff like that. But now I'm finding like, a lot of singer-songwriter stuff that I never knew he was into. Like Colin Blunstone from the Zombies was a big one that like I found like three or four vinyl from, and I'm just like, knowing that this was playing around the house and all, like all of a sudden my sensibilities started to make sense to me. Like I'm like,
Right.
oh, of course it bleeds in.
And there's
When
probably some stuff too that like was there, and you just didn't realize how hip it was or how cool it was, at least for me. And then years down the line, you see it there, and you're like, "Wow, I
Yeah.
can't believe this is just sitting here this whole time." You know.
It's like the answer was there all along, and if I would have just listened.
Mhm.
What age were you when you started wanting to play?
Um, I think I was wanting to play probably about 4 or 5, and then I think I started playing when I was 5. My mom uh, hooked me up with an incredible classical piano teacher in Worcester, um, Sue Lee Wen, and she kind of just mentored me my whole, all the way first grade through 12th grade, just every week going to her house for a lesson and learning a whole bunch of whole bunch of classical music and other stuff too. But classical music was really her thing.
Yeah, like so you dialed in on it real quick, or was it like in the early days? I know it's like when you were
I think
5.
it's hard to remember exactly, but I think when you're young, you have a really high tolerance for failure or something like that, where you don't, you you can just kind of go at your own pace, and everything is new. So the simplest song that you can learn is super exciting, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't say I loved practicing, but I still practiced. I loved being able to play. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I pretty quickly saw the connection between practicing and being able to play. You
Yeah,
know?
that makes sense. You know, it's funny you said that about failure or whatnot because there's this comment I read in this improv book I've been reading about how about judging yourself or thinking that other people are judging you, and the idea that if you're thinking that other people are judging you, the only person who's actually judging you is yourself. And it was like,
Wow. Yeah.
right, you know, like,
Yep.
but it kind of makes me think about when I was a kid. Is like I probably didn't think about other people's thoughts or judgment of failure or whatnot. So like, yeah, it totally makes sense that as a kid, you're kind of more pliable to, try things and fail and instead of, you know,
Yeah. And music is this thing that, is around you. And then all of a sudden, someone is showing you, or you're learning, some people on their own, some people with a teacher, that you can do it too. And it's like kind of an amazing thing.
yeah. Can you remember? I always like to ask this of musicians, but can you remember like the first song you could play from start to finish?
Yes. The first song I could play from start to finish was called Take Off. And it was the D sharp and the C sharp and D sharp black keys all the way up the piano. And the second song I could play was Take Off and Landing or something like where it's going back
Back
down.
down.
Yep. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So, so you're playing, taking lessons or whatnot. Did you play in any of the bands in school? Did you move into that?
Yeah. More so like, getting when I was a little bit older, like eighth, ninth, 10th grade and stuff, started playing with my friends and stuff. I feel like I was always playing with other kids and stuff in different sort of like not full-fledged bands, but maybe I had a friend at a camp who played drums and we would just jam for a minute. And then in high school, I had a band with a couple of my friends that was called Serenity Now because
Yes.
we were in the Seinfeld,
Yeah.
and we were also super into Phish, and that was like basically a Phish cover band. But
Oh, hell yeah.
we tried to throw in, we were able to throw in some like other stuff. I think we learned a Frank Zappa song.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny. When I started learning how to play guitar, some of the earliest stuff that I wanted to figure out how to play was Phish. And it always makes me laugh that I was like, hey, one of the most insanely talented guitar players ever. I want to try to learn how to do that. But,
Right. We didn't even have a guitar player in that band.
oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's
My neighbor Zach Berwick, who still plays professionally, he was playing drums, and Max Wagner was playing bass. He is like the bassist now for one of the big orchestras in New York, like classical orchestras.
that's sick.
So yeah, we were just in Zach's bedroom jamming, trying to learn Phish songs. And then I played in another band with a bunch of my friends that was basically a Led Zeppelin cover band, which was also kind of interesting because they don't have a lot of piano in their songs.
Yeah.
So I kind of just did whatever.
Made it happen.
Yeah.
That's killer. When what was the first band that you kind of started actually writing or trying to kind of settle down into an actual band instead of jamming or whatnot?
Man, I feel like I'm realizing I played in a lot of bands over my lifetime. But when I was in college, by that time I was super kind of like a jazz head. And I had some friends that we would kind of just get together and we would write tunes and lead sheets and play each other's songs. And it really wasn't a set band. It was just kind of a bunch of guys who, like to play. And yeah, we would kind of like write tunes and bring them to a practice room and just play each other's tunes. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you write sheet? Like, do you?
Uh, yeah, sometimes,
That's wild.
sometimes. Yeah.
I feel like it's a lost art. Like I feel like we've gotten to the point where so many people are just so talented at picking things up and knowing theory and stuff like that that no one's actually just sitting down and writing anymore, it feels like. But
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's nice to have it,
yeah.
to be able to convey, you know, what the, or just what the tune is. But sometimes it is, a lot easier and less of a hassle to just like learn something by ear and just, if you write something, just teach it to your friends by ear or something.
Yeah.
So,
So when did the move to Philadelphia happen?
I moved to Philly in 2014.
Okay.
So I had graduated school, went, I hung around in Boston for a few years, playing a bunch, playing at this spot called Wally's, which is kind of like a legendary Boston jazz club where a lot of the young musicians play. And then I was in New York for about 6 years, and then I migrated down to Philly in 2014. So I've been here like 10 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like now it's like it's got to feel like a home. Like it's got to be the
it
base.
does. It does.
Yeah.
My kids are Eagles fans, so
Excellent. Well done. Well
yeah.
done. Now, does that sink into you too, or are you still
Being an
holding?
Eagles fan,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. It's all right.
I'm way past the point of ever being able to give up.
Okay, that's
My
fair. I
Boston.
respect that. I
Yeah.
respect that. Around that same time is when Killiam Shakespeare starts, right?
Yeah.
2014.
Yep. I moved down uh, in 2014. I had been playing in Bilal's band for a few years before that, and I was working a lot with the drummer named Steve McKee, and we decided to start a band with all this music that we were making, and yeah, that became Killiam Shakespeare.
Yeah. So playing in this circle and whatnot, and you mentioned Bilal. I now have to ask the question that I ask anybody who's kind of tangentially in the universe. Did you ever post on the Okayplayer boards?
No,
Okay. All right.
I did not. Actually, I don't. I'm not sure if the Okayplayer boards were even still a thing when I kind of came into that universe.
Okay. Gotcha.
I know about them,
Yeah.
and I think probably while I was in school they were a big thing, but I wasn't really like that connected onto Okayplayer at that point.
Okay. Okay. I just it's funny because I just I've been revisiting Love for Sale, Bilal's
Mm.
shelved disc that actually got leaked on those boards. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, so like yeah, that was the Wild West back then. That was a different time. His did you check the Glass House live performance
a
he
little
just
bit.
dropped? It's
Yeah, I didn't see the whole
really
thing.
stellar.
I saw parts of it. Yeah, he also has a new studio project that's really amazing.
Yeah, that was it. I want to say that it made my or the live album made my top 25. The studio album made my top 50 of
Nice.
2024. You gotta keep track of these things. But how did Killiam Shakespeare come about? You said you guys were playing with Bilal, but like what was like did you guys just like kind of have that material from playing around with each other, or was there like was it written specifically for that first release?
Uh, the first Killiam Shakespeare release. Well, Killiam Shakespeare kind of became a band before we ever released anything. Um, just because we were making a lot of music, and sometimes people would use it for their project, and we produced it. It came out at on their project, but we also had a lot of music that wasn't necessarily you know stuff that somebody would necessarily like. Hey, I want that beat for my project. Uh, it was more like full fledged instrumental songs, and yeah, so we were recording the first Killiam Shakespeare project was technically like I was recording a solo album, and with us having Killiam Shakespeare and wanting to have a band, that ended up becoming Killiam Shakespeare's first project.
Okay.
And then, um, yeah, and then Killiam kind of took a life of its own and made a bunch more music and stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah. So I gotta ask this question, and it might even come across as a favor, and that is every year I like to compile a playlist of former guests of the show, and them doing Christmas songs. So what do we have to do to get the Killiam Shakespeare Christmas EP up on streaming? What the hell? Like,
Killiam, oh, it's, yeah, I don't think it was ever on streaming. Um, we put that out with Rope a Dope,
okay,
so I'm sure there's a way that they could throw it on streaming.
I'll send an email. I got
Yeah.
a year to make it happen.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Because our
Okay.
first project that we put out with them is also on Rope a Dope. Is also on streaming. So yeah, streaming was nowhere near as big a thing back when we released that stuff as it is now. So that's probably we put both of those projects out on the same day,
Oh, really?
2015, I think.
Yeah. That's cool. So what was the kind of decision to kind of move into something, under your own name and away from that? Like what was the
Uh,
migration?
I mean, I think it was just bands break up,
Yeah.
people go in different directions, friendships go in different directions, and I'm always going to be doing music regardless. So I'm still going to be writing music and recording music, and that's kind of
Yeah, it's in there. It's
what
in
it
there.
is
You can't.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never going to go away. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, totally. So, you had the what's the word I'm looking for? The duo album in 2020 with the Bul Bey. Like was that was like a pandemic project? Was that
It
right?
was. Yeah, we were actually in here in my studio, just masked up sometimes, most of the
Yeah.
time, trying to mask up, and yeah, just the nice. I mean, pandemic was it was a rough time, but one of the things about it was that there was a lot of free time for musicians to create in the studio because nobody had any gigs. So we were like, I think we did one song, and then we were just like, yo, let's just do a full EP or something. And so we spent pretty much that summer of 2020 working on it. And yeah, it was, I haven't listened to it in a while, but when I do hear it, it takes me back to that time and place. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that was like strange times, but like I always say, like I feel like something happened with the world, and clearly something happened with the world, but like so I feel like something happened where like we kind of start we like this the way that a friend of mine put it was we all found our true selves during the pandemic. It's just not all of it was good, and not all of
right.
it was like some of it was better than the other. Um,
Yeah.
but like I feel like the creativity that came out of being locked in our houses, like we're going to see it for a few more years still to come, of like just all of these killer projects that people had the time to be able to sit and work with.
Yeah, I'm sure there's so much music that people made during that time. I mean, I know just in here, people were coming in and almost, felt like every day there was cats in here just recording and playing, and not even for a specific project, but just to get their emotions out and play music. So yeah, I was talking to my friend actually recently about going back and listening to all that stuff because it was such a unique moment in history that I'm pretty sure like what everybody was playing at that time was probably affected. you know?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, like this whole podcast started during the pandemic because I was doing live
Oh, yeah.
streams, and then I
Mhm.
saw my friends doing live streams, and I was like, wait a minute, we all have Zoom. Let's talk. Like like it was like let's meld our live streams, and that's kind of what this came out of, and then it just grew into some weird monster. But it is fun to like go.
It's a
Well,
monster, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it is fun to go back and look at that stuff and just like see like even like the tone in my voice like is
Mm,
just like I don't want to say it's beaten down, but it's definitely it is definitely more weight to the world in it,
right.
you know. Um,
Absolutely.
has there ever been any thoughts of doing a follow up to that project or?
Yeah. Yep. We have kind of always thought of it as like the first volume of something.
Mhm.
I think. I mean, I don't want to speak for Lowell, but we pretty much like kind of envisioned that as a part one, or not part one, but the first in who knows how many. But it's just pandemic is over, so everybody's
Yeah,
busy.
yeah, exactly. And you're like doubly busy because not only are you making music like on your own and on the side and playing with other people, and then you're in the Late Show band. Like how
Yeah,
how did
yeah.
that come about?
Ah, man, that was completely unexpected and a amazing blessing that came into my life about like 2 years ago. Basically, when John Baptiste, who was the band leader, original band leader on the show, left, they made my friend Louis Cato the new band leader, and he'd been playing in the band for a while, along with another one of my friends, really great friends, Louis Fouché. So John left, Cato became the band leader, and then they needed somebody to play keys in the band. And I think I think they kind of had like a few people come in and play and see how it fit with the band. And then one day I got a text message, "Hey, can you come play with the Late Show band next week?" And then it was pretty cool. And on Friday I got a text, "Hey, can you come back next week?"
That's awesome.
you know, so
That's killer. What's that process like? Like, I know, I mentioned the Okayplayer boards. I remember, like, I was on those boards when the Roots took then late night and then the Tonight Show,
yeah,
and the audience who listens to this might know. I don't know if you know, but like. Quest used to do this thing where he would post the entire week or 2 weeks worth of guests and ask us to, he would like mine us for songs
wow,
for like walk-on suggestions and stuff like that.
nice,
So like we would do like all these deep dives and like, oh, this person sang this song back in their high school, musical or da 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 and stuff like that.
wow.
Now, but like, what's your guys' process for kind of entrance musics and kind of thinking, what works best for what guest?
Well, there are people who work with the band, um, who that's part of it. What they do is research the guests and see similar thing. What sort of deep dives way back they might have mentioned in an interview about like, oh, I loved this song, or this is my favorite song, or this. Um, a guest recently came on, Skarsgård. I forget his first name. He's an actor.
Bill?
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård. He said he learned English by listening to AC/DC. So he played an AC/DC song.
Oh, that's killer. Yeah, that's awesome. So that's been going on for 2 years. Like, what's that commute like? Do you drive back and forth, or do you have a
I
spot
take
or?
Amtrak. Yep, I'm
Yeah,
on Amtrak every day,
it's
almost
wild.
every day. Yeah,
That's wild. What's the duration on that ride? Like a hour and a half
about an
or?
hour and 15, hour and 20,
Okay, that's not too
but
bad.
they're delayed a lot. There's a lot
I
of delays. So
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. So you just are about to release a blessed leap into eternity, and the album is absolutely phenomenal. When did you start? When did you start this project? Like, when did you start kind of putting it together?
uh, last fall, I want to say not well, 2 falls ago, I guess now, fall of 2023. Stephen Colbert got COVID, and the week of the shows were canceled. And I just happened to like, I don't really even know why, other than wanting to make music. I hit up some of my friends who had studios and some of my friends who played and booked a session. at my friend Michael Cummings' spot in I think it's like kind of Kensington area. And I went in there with John and Yasay and Lenny, and we weren't like planning to make a project. We were just, gonna record and see what happened. And after we recorded that day, I kind of realized there was something there that could become a project, could become like, an EP or an album or something. So we did a couple more sessions over the course of that winter and spring. And then me and Mike mixed the record at his spot, and yeah, now it's coming out.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so cool. Speaking of you say, did you give him any tips for being a house band now that he's on Kelsey's show? Or
No, he didn't tell me. He didn't even tell me. But Sam and Benji told me. They came up to a taping in New York, and
that's cool.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to checking out their late show, the sports late.
See how they roll. Yeah, it's cool. The album, like, I don't want to say that it's totally different than any of your previous stuff, but it does feel more rooted in jazz, and kind of improvisation. And now knowing that it was, based off of, the core of it was from that first session, like that kind of gives it more of, it helps me understand more of how that came about. But like, was that approach different than previous, how you, kind of put together the previous projects?
Yeah, a little bit, because this was the first project where every song was tracked live with everybody just playing together at the same time in the same room. I've probably done a couple songs here and there like that, maybe with Killiam or another band or two, but like as far as the whole project being that sound, this was the first time we did that, and I loved the feeling of it,
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, I was sort of like a little nervous or intimidated by that process of, doing a take of a song with everybody playing, and like, that's what the sound of the song is going to be. But for some reason this time it was a great, enjoyable, special process,
Yeah.
Yeah, and we did some overdubs, adding some layers and stuff, but the meat of it is us just getting in Michael's room and playing.
Wild. How much was there much of an influence from doing the late night gig and playing different styles and all every night over and over 5 nights a week or whatnot? Did that go into kind of your thought process in playing, or
Not really consciously, not consciously, but everybody in that band is, first of all, an amazing musician, and also a lot of the people in the band are really coming from a very jazz-oriented background. So, playing up there every day with that cast of musicians, it kind of starts to seep into you.
Yeah.
So when we started recording this music here, I was just probably more comfortable than I've been in a while, because I'd been playing, improvisational based music every day.
Yeah. The I know you did a show. Was that in December or whatnot? Are you looking to play more shows on this project, or is it hard to get everybody together?
No, we're playing some shows. We're going to be playing at St. Michael's Church on the 15th of March.
Okay.
Yeah, March 15th. And, actually, might be the 14th. I'll have to check. Or the 16th. The 15th, we're playing in New York at Brothers Wash and Dry.
Oh, nice.
We're going to book a little East Coast weekend out of that. And, so we'll be playing in Philly in March, and hopefully playing a bunch more too.
That's cool. I would love. You got to let me know, especially when that date is, because I definitely want to check that out. Like,
Absolutely.
I can only imagine what this sounds like live. Like, just the vibe is just so strong and powerful on this that like, it's great,
Thanks.
man.
Yeah, we did one small show opening up for Black Dynamite. I don't know if you know him,
Yeah,
amazing drummer artist from Texas. But yeah, even just playing that because it was our first time playing any of the music since we recorded it felt amazing. You know,
yeah.
so I'm really looking forward to playing this stuff.
So some of the people you've played with that there's you played with so many different people, but I got to take note of a few here or two specifically, or well, three.
All right.
One, what was the process like working with Charlie to kind of make Invisible Ink live? Because that album is another one that absolutely blew me away, and I'm so mad that I missed the Solar Myth shows.
Oh yeah, they were pretty crazy. Man, playing with Charlie was awesome. Like, I mean, first of all, he's one of the funniest people I've ever met, and he's a great musician. He's a great producer. He elevates the vibe of everybody around him. So I haven't even gotten to the music yet, I guess, because I'm just yeah. And he had his tunes, and he had a bunch of great musicians, some of the guys from the Drugs, and we just kind of like got together and learned the parts and learned how they all could fit together. And it was like, to be honest, it was one of the more challenging shows I've been a part of, um, because everything was so. It wasn't about like, oh, watch me play this crazy run or listen to this crazy chord I know. It was very like focused on the sound of the records and the music and playing together and gelling as a complete sound, which I think you can take into any genre and, elevate it. But, that was a great experience of just, you know, doing it with cats who really know how to do it, you know?
That's incredible. Yeah, I'm so mad I missed those shows. Like,
They were great. Hopefully he'll do some more.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so one of the others that I had to like, whenever I get a press release, it's always the weirdest thing that jumps out to me that like, but what did you do with Rachel and Vilray? Because that's another project that like is just like I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, they're amazing too. They came on and did a feature performance on The Late Show, and they used the Late Show band to back them up.
Okay, okay. It's killer. Her voice is just like it's like that's an angel's voice right there to
Yeah,
me. Like that's killer.
and
Um,
Bill Ray is incredible.
oh my God,
All
he's
the stuff he
just
recorded.
disgusting. He's so disgusting. And then the last one that I have to ask about is, I understand that you're from Boston, but you got to recognize, and I'm sure you do, how incredible it is that you've been able to collaborate multiple times with DJ Jazzy Jeff, who is just like a
Yeah,
god to me. Like, yeah, he's just a god. Period. Like.
yeah, he's a wizard. He's a musical wizard.
I've been trying to get a contact to get him to have a conversation with me because boy,
Mhm.
do I want to pick that gentleman's brain. Like I have so many questions.
Yeah, he's a musical wizard, and he's got all the experience in the world, and a vast depth of musical knowledge and taste and experience. So yeah, we recorded one Killiam album at his studio, and he also used a Killiam beat that we like. Killiam produced a song on one of his projects.
It's wild.
So yeah, it was
That's cool. That is
beautiful.
definitely cool. So this will actually come out, I believe, the Monday, the 26th. So Blessed Leap into Eternity will be out at that point, coming out on Bird Brain Records. Are you pressing vinyl on this or?
Yes, it's pressed. I
It's
have it.
you have it? Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Cool. I will have to buy one of those
Um,
definitely because I really I'm not blowing any smoke up your ass. Like this project feels really special. Like it
oh man,
feels
thank you,
great.
thank you.
At this time, you want to go through the Jawntlet. This is my questionnaire that I ask every guest that rolls through here. It starts with the one hit wonders, which is a concept in name only. And you're just picking a favorite here. Billy Joel or Elton John? Who do you prefer?
Uh, I haven't listened to enough Elton John to make an educated to give an
Oh,
educated answer, but I love Billy Joel, so
okay.
just
Okay.
have to say Billy Joel.
I dig it. Debbie Harry or Joan Jett?
I'm not super familiar with either of them.
Okay, that's
Or
fair.
are they from particular bands?
Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, I love rock and roll, and stuff like that. And Debbie Harry was the front person to Blondie.
Okay. I'm still not super familiar with either of
Yeah,
them,
no,
but
right on, right on.
oh yeah, I'll abstain from that.
Yeah, good,
I
good,
don't
cool.
want to.
Aretha Franklin or Tina Turner?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'll say Aretha because she's one of the most amazing piano players ever.
Okay, good answer, good answer. Nirvana or Pearl Jam?
Jeez. There's no right answer to that question.
It's true.
But I will say Nirvana kind of was life changing for me.
Okay, okay.
And a lot of, not just me.
Yeah,
Nirvana changed a lot. I'm probably Pearl Jam too for a lot of people, but I know when I was in middle school, Nirvana was God.
for sure, for sure. Janis Joplin or Stevie Nicks?
I guess Stevie Nicks.
Okay, I
Right
dig it.
hander.
Yeah. The big cliche, Beatles or the Stones?
Beatles.
Okay. And the final one of this, Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven?
Hmm. Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven. They're both great, but Bohemian Rhapsody really pulled me in when I heard it.
Yeah.
So I'll say Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know all
Oh,
the words to Stairway to Heaven. I know all the words to Bohemian Rhapsody. So
dig it, dig it. Every once in a while, I like to throw a custom one in for for the guests themselves. So I ask you this one: Oscar Peterson or Thelonious Monk?
oh, you are killing me. Oh man, you're killing me. I would be lying if I didn't say Monk.
Okay, dig it. I can dig it. The next section is the top 10 countdown. In this, of course, we use Jawn to be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be music. It can be anything you want it to be. First one, what was your first Jawn? What was the first thing you were obsessed with when you were a kid?
First, the first thing I was obsessed with when I was a kid,
Yeah.
not including music.
Yeah, it can be anything you want it to be.
Uh, that's tough because I was obsessed with a lot of things like sports, music.
Yeah. What was your sport of choice?
When I was a kid, it was probably soccer.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Number two, what's your current Jawn? What are you into right now?
my kids,
Yeah. How many kids
two kids,
and ages?
almost two, and just turned 4.
Oh, it's the fun time.
It's
Or so
fun.
I know. I don't have kids, but
Oh, okay.
but nephews and all like that. That's when
Yeah,
they like me. They
right.
start to get older, and all of a sudden I'm boring. But whatever.
Nah, they'll like you. I'm sure.
It's awesome. Number three, what was your first concert, first live show you saw?
Ooh, my first live show. The first show that I went to, kind of like with my friends, like concert that I didn't go to with my parents, probably was Phish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year?
Uh, I would have been a sophomore in high school, so maybe like 1996
Okay, cool.
or 1996 around there
Yeah,
in Worcester.
good times, good times.
Worcester, Mass.
My first Fish show was 94.
Wow.
Yeah, and I always tell the story that like my favorite Fish song of all time is Lizards. All right, like I just love the Lizards. I love the whole Game Henge thing, and they played it that night. And I didn't know, like my friend was a Fish fan and he was just like, I have this extra ticket. Do you want to go with? And I was like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure. So like the only time I've seen them play Lizards was the time that I just couldn't appreciate it because I didn't know it, which is like the most
Did that
frustrating thing in the world.
did it make an impression on you? Like,
It had to have. Like I gotta think like it's coded in there somewhere in
yeah.
that memory. But oh, what I was gonna say earlier was when I was learning how to play guitar, one of my favorite memories ever of any show I've ever been to was in the parking lot of that Fish show. And there were these girls selling grilled cheese sandwiches, and I taught them how to play the intro to Fluffhead, and they taught me how to play Sparkle, and it was the
Wow.
greatest. Like,
Where was the show? Where was it?
it was at the Man Music Center.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
They used to play the man all the time. And now they're back playing the man again. And it's like, it feels like a total homecoming. Like, it's
Wow.
great. Number four, what was your last concert? What was the last live show you saw that you weren't a part of?
The last show I saw, I went to see my friend Gustin Rudolph and his quintet play at Chris's Jazz Cafe a week or two ago.
Oh, nice. Very
And
nice.
yeah, I think the last concert before that, I don't have a lot of time to check out music.
I was just going to say, when do you find the time?
Usually, like if I'm getting back into town on a Thursday night or something, and somebody that I know is playing somewhere, I'll try to make my way over there. But yeah, I don't have a lot of time to
Yeah.
catch live shows. I saw Salami Rose Joe Lewis at Brenda's maybe 6 months ago, a year ago.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
probably the last concert before that.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Number five, what was your favorite concert?
Mm, that's tough. My favorite concert was probably I saw Roy Hargrove at the Village Vanguard in New York
Wow.
when I was in high school.
That's killer.
That was a life changing experience.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my God, I bet. Number six, who have you never seen live that you wish you would have? They can be living or dead.
Whoa. There's a lot. There's a lot. Man, I kind of want to say like Band of Gypsies,
Ooh,
but
yeah.
we have a record. We have that recorded. So I think it would be crazy to go way back and be able to hear like Bach doing
Yeah,
some of his stuff.
I dig it. I can definitely dig it. Good answer. Good
Or
answer.
church service or something, and he just comes
Yeah.
out and, and blazes or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I'll go with Bach. Yeah.
That's killer. I dig it. Number seven, name an unappreciated John, something you wish more people knew about.
Hmm. Tone Whitfield,
Okay. All right. I'm not familiar. I will definitely have to look up as soon as we get off this call.
legendary Philly bass player, producer. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Number eight, what's your favorite album? Which I know is a bullshit question, but
That's really hard. Uh, Favorite album, man. Probably Ready to Die, Notorious B.I.G.
definitely. Have you ever heard the Cookin' Soul Biggie Christmas album?
I have not.
Essentially,
Now I really want to.
they do these killer mashups, and there's one that is I just made it my pick, and now I forget what it combines. But anyway, I'll send you a link. You
Nice.
gotta check it out. It's really it make it like because I've always ever since um Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, when I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this.
Yeah.
Ever since, I've always like kind of thought of that as a Christmas song. So when they did this remix, right, I was like, yes, now somebody else feels the same way. Like, so now I can actually have it function as a Christmas song. So there it
Wow.
is.
That's unique.
Yeah, it's great. Number 9, name an artist whose output you'll consume anything they release.
Um, Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
Kendrick
sure.
Lamar, Brad Meldau. Yeah, well, that's 2 already.
Yeah,
But yeah.
for sure. Oh, and you just tangentially reminded me of another person that you've worked with that blew my mind when I saw in the press release. You did work with Pusha T?
I played in Pusha T's band.
God damn it. How cool was that?
It was really cool. It was like a culture shock a little bit for me, just going on tour with him, which parts of it were amazing, and parts of it weren't as like organized as would be nice when you're a musician on the road and stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean that that experience definitely changed me musically.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be making the same kind of music over these past 10 or however many years it's been if I hadn't played in his band.
That's
And he's
wild.
also just one of the greatest rappers alive. So
Oh, it just unbelievable. What tour was that? Like, what project was he?
he had just signed to Good Music,
Okay.
and Good Music or Heineken and Good Music, I think, were doing these tours together where Heineken would sponsor a Good Music artist to just do a promotional tour. Yeah, so it was the Heineken Good Music tour with Pusha T. Well, it was with Pusha T, Sahai the Prince. It wasn't just Pusha. Every show had a couple other people, but I played in Pusha band.
That's awesome. That's so cool. The 10th and final of the top 10 countdown. What's your favorite Jawn of all time? It can be anything you want it to be.
That is too hard. That's that's really hard to answer. That's too much pressure. Favorite Jawn of all time. It's got to be my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I dig it. So Blessed Leap into Eternity, as I said, just came out this Friday, available on all the streaming plus on vinyl. CD?
No CDs.
No CDs.
Vinyl and
Just
streaming. Yep.
okay. Available through Bandcamp? Is it going to be up
Yeah.
on the, yeah.
It'll be on Bandcamp and Birdbrain. You can get it at Birdbrain's website, which is basically just a link to Bandcamp. So
Okay, yeah, and we'll have links in the show notes, so anybody listening to this can just click the link and go right to it, and all of that. Corey, I appreciate you coming through here so much. Like I said, I absolutely love this album, and I'm so glad we got to chat about it.
oh man, thank you so much, Nate. It's been a pleasure.